Slightly different flavour to the women's competition. Out come the first pair of semi-finalists. Time for the first Recurve men's semi-final here in Shanghai. Let's go straight to the shooting line.
On target number 1, representing the Netherlands,
1号码来自荷兰
Steve Wijler. On target number 2, representing the Republic of Korea,
2号码来自韩国
Jin Hyek. The line judge for this matchup is
起射线裁判
Shannon Russell Kai. Well, 2 possible outcomes. There is a gold medal match spot.
So the first semi-final is between Steve Wijler from the Netherlands, the world number 13 at 26 years old, against the 41-year-old Korean Jin Hyek, the world number 18. Won the Olympic title in 2012 and was part of the team that won the Olympic gold in 2020. Steve Wijler was the mixed team silver medalist, along with Gabby Schlusser in Tokyo, but won this very competition back in 2017.
Yeah, I think the premise of this match is Steve has to get to this final. He has had to beat both the current Olympic champion Mete Gazoz and the number 1 ranked archer of this competition, Brady Ellison. So he is known to be able to beat some very high-level archers, and he did it this week. And if he wants to get a shot at the gold, he'll have to do the same to the 2012 London Olympic champion.
Yeah, the longevity of is the fascinating thing here. He just showing no signs of retiring.
Yeah, and I don't know if he has any current world records. I think he does on some distances of the FIDA round, but in any case, I think he has the world record of amount of times he said he was going to retire and still got back to the finals venue.
Oh, so there have been signs of retirement, they just haven't come to fruition.
8.
Well, I'm drifting out to the left. Leaves an open door for the Dutch archer.
9.
And a 9 is enough for a 28 in the first 2 set points. Not really a huge amount of time to talk during that first set. They are shooting at great speed.
Yeah, they're not making any fuss about it. They're just doing what they're here to do.
Ranked world number 18. Steve Wijler is ranked world number 13.
Was there anything in particular that you spotted from that 8? I mean, it's not a bad score, but it stands out.
A bit of a rough release maybe, but he always has a bit of a rotation in his hand when he releases. Typically it's quite a fluent movement, and this time it was a bit choppy. Maybe that's the only thing that I could really discover with that shot, but it was also a bit quicker than what we're used to seeing from him, so it might have just not been his greatest timing, and his side may not have been in the middle.
Well, you know all these archers really well, but perhaps the Dutch archers are a little bit better than everyone else. Is it me, or does Steve Wijler, that is, appear to be just a little bit more settled and controlled with his emotions this season?
So far, what we've seen from him, both here and at the Grand Prix in Lillehammer, yeah, it seems like he's more at a certain level with his emotion rather than up and down. And I think it's also just that he's matured a bit on the stage. The first time he was here was also his first World Cup in 2017. He has a bit more experience under his belt now, and it's showing in the final rounds that he's shooting. Didn't really have a great World Cup in Antalya, but he did have the European Archery Grand Prix, and he had a great indoor season, so yeah, he for sure knows how to get into the finals.
8 or 9, too close to call.
Well, into the 8, but that's marked for a measure.
8.
And that's drifted out to the 8. I did notice the wind slightly picked up again on the shooting line. We got the flags to see that it's starting to blow again.
A very important 10 here for Jin Hyek. I think his second arrow has a very good chance of hitting the line, but I only got a very slight look at it. But if it does hit the line, that means that he tied up the match. So the judge has this in his hands right now.
Well, it's yes, the call certainly is in his or her hands. They have to go and measure that second arrow, at least have a look at it. It was exceptionally close, that is for sure. Too difficult to call even from the shooting line. There doesn't seem to be a huge amount of comfort as to whether that one is in or out.
I think it's in.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
This is one of those moments where if I was sat at home on my couch, I would have probably scrolled back in the video, pause it, see if it's in or out, and then go back to the live moment, but cannot really do that here.
No, you can't do it when it's live, can you?
The third set now. Jin Hyek will shoot first on target 2.
Well, that was the arrow in question.
刚才吴振赫的第二支箭被裁判判定为9环，这样他扳回一局。现在的比分是2-2平。
On the scoreboards it says 2 versus 2, so I guess it was upgraded to a 9.
So all square. Starting set number 3.
Bit of a choppy release again. I feel like he's struggling to get the right expansion going. And especially some years ago we would see him just be super comfortable in his shot and everything would look very dynamic and nice and fluent. Right now I'm not really seeing that same Jin Hyek, but it's not bad by any means, it's just not the same level of fluidity that we've seen before from him.
9-9.
Also see Wijler doing a little bit of Bokwando correction.
Yeah, which is not unique for him. Obviously, we've seen that a lot from him, and that's just him. His mindset is do whatever it takes to get that arrow in the middle. It doesn't matter how it looks or feels, as long as the arrow goes in the middle. Steve has done a couple technique changes over the last couple of years. And it mostly means that he has a bit more of a stable base to shoot from. He used to have a bit of a higher shoulder, he used to have a bit of a different anchor point, but over the years he's kind of polished his technique to be more consistent and more stable. So now where before he could shoot a really small group and then like a slightly bigger group, now it's more consistent. He's just decreased the group size a bit.
Well, whilst we're talking about, I was just trying to have a look at that target of Jin Hyek, because that second arrow was right next to the line. Now I think that might well have been marked up. It sounds like it has in the venue, and that means it's 28 plays 27, and Jin Hyek has come from 2-0 down to lead 4-2.
吴振赫是2012年东京奥运会的个人冠军以及团体冠军。
So now we'll see Wijler shoot first in the 4th set. It has to come from behind. Can he maintain his composure here?
It doesn't feel to me as if Steve is throwing this match away. It doesn't feel... He had that 1-8 on the right. That was not the greatest shot. For the rest, he's just been shooting decent shots, but not really hitting the middle. And Jin Hyek had those 2 arrows that just hit the line that made a huge difference for the match. Because if both of those arrows didn't hit the line, we would have been in a tight situation right now.
Small margins, but that's just the third 10 from Steve Wijler. Couldn't come at a better time. Shooting first in this particular set has the ability to put some pressure on O.
It seems like he's not really feeling it as such. Or thriving in it, that's also a possibility.
Good 29 from Wijler. Now 10 required to match that 29 and share the set points. Oh, look at that, just when it's needed. And as you said, I think it is a case of the former rather than the latter. I think he's just ignoring it completely, the pressure that Wijler clearly put on him there.
Yeah, he's done this so many times, and against so many different archers. I think he has kind of become oblivious of the fact that you should be nervous for a situation like this.
Yeah, and we turn our attention now to Steve Wijler, who will shoot first in the fifth set, the final regulation set. He's really got to put everything to one side and shoot just as he did then. I mean, ideally, 1 point more.
Yeah, and I think the last shot that we just saw is a good indication that Steve is comfortable at the moment, because it wasn't a great shot, but he managed to steer it into the 10, and I think that's a sign that he's feeling good about his shooting at the moment.
Well, I think I spotted one other thing in that little break between the sets, and that's that O's teammates all seem to be standing right there. Look, there they are in the background. They seem to be standing behind Steve Wijler. Are they cheering him on?
I can hardly imagine. They might be looking at the aero flight and gathering information for him. But what's most likely is that it's just a spot out of the sunlight.
Good call. That's getting quite close to the line, and I think that we just picked it up as he was actually redrawing. He'd started to come back from the initial process. Good recovery from O.
9.
Again, it's not necessarily bad. The shots are pretty solid. Nothing special going on there, but he's just not hitting the amount of tens that we're used to seeing from Steve.
9.
So that's a good setup shot here. Oh, Jin Hyek putting his middle arrow into the 9. Gives him that mini advantage. Remember, he only needs to match Wijler's score here to get the 1 point for the win and a place in the gold medal match. 9 or more to go through. Looks like it might just be a 9. Could see a little bit of the line on the other side. So it does look like it's a 28, plays 28, and a shared set points in the 5th. They shake hands, Wijler with a smile on his face. He knows that was a tight one. And as you said, Chef, he wasn't shooting badly. It's just that Jin Hyek just wasn't affected at all by any of the pressure that Steve put on him.